The events take place in 1973 in a small town in Pennsylvania. Susie is 14 years old. She lives with her parents, younger sister Lindsay, and little brother in a big, warm, and cozy house. Her life could be described as almost flawless. The girl fondly remembers her childhood: a glass ball with a snow penguin, a camera given for her birthday, a trip with her father, and the most frightening of memories is the day when her younger brother almost suffocated. Then Susie took the baby to the hospital herself, stealing her parents' car. Grandma Lynn predicted that her granddaughter would have a long and happy life because she saved her brother. But her prediction turned out to be a mistake. At the mall, Susie notices a cute guy named Ray who goes to the same school with her. The girl likes him very much, and her grandmother immediately notices this. She shares with Susie the memory of her first kiss, calling it one of the happiest moments in her life. Little does Susie realize that at this very moment, one of her neighbors is carefully preparing her murder. A man draws plans, digs something in a cornfield, sharpens knives. After the school screening of the movie Othello, Susie unexpectedly runs into Ray in the hallway. The guy is interested in her impressions of the painting, but the girl is completely confused. Then Ray bluntly says that she is very beautiful and invites her on a date to the mall on Saturday. He clearly wants to kiss her, and it seems that dreams are beginning to come true. But at this moment, an angry art teacher intervenes. He bursts into the hallway and scolds student Ruth for drawing two bold drawings. Young people are forced to go to their classes. We can only wait until Saturday. On the way back home, passing through a cornfield, Susie meets her neighbor George Harvey. He suggests that she take a look at the underground house which he built as a shelter for children's games. At first, Susie refuses, but Harvey is persistent, and eventually she agrees. Going downstairs, the girl notices a gloomy atmosphere: strange toys, candles, figurines of angels, incomprehensible drawings. At the same time, Harvey himself begins to get nervous, and his anxiety is unwittingly transmitted to Susie. She wants to leave more than anything, but Harvey won't let her go. He offers soda, takes off his jacket, and persuades the girl to do the same. He says she's attractive. Susie becomes really scared. She goes to the exit, but the man grabs her and drags her back. The girl kicks him in the face with all her might and breaks out. She rushes through the cornfield, then along the forest path, running past the same Ruth who was recently scolded by the teacher. At this time, Susie's parents are restless. Her father runs around the city with her picture, and her mother goes to the police. Susie herself rushes home, but something strange begins to happen to her. The world around us seems to become unreal. She sees her father and shouts "Daddy" to him, but he does not hear or notice her. The girl calls for her mother, but her mother is talking to a detective at that time, and Susie realizes that she is invisible to others. She begins to be haunted by terrible visions. Torn, bloody clothes are scattered everywhere. A man's body lies in the bathroom. The sink is broken and covered in blood, and Susie's bracelet is on it. At that moment, she begins to understand something. But suddenly, the man in the bathroom gets up, and it turns out that it's Harvey. Susie screams in horror. Meanwhile, the police find in a cornfield the hat the girl was wearing on the day of her disappearance. Traces of blood are also found there, and there are too many of them. Susie's parents are in despair, but they continue to believe that their daughter is alive. Meanwhile, Harvey destroys all the evidence, burns clothes, thoroughly washes everything around, and hides the bloody shoes. The detective visits his house, but finds nothing suspicious. Susie feels like the life is gradually leaving her body, but she has no fear. She remembers that she still has one unfinished business on Earth, a date with Ray that never took place. Instead, Ruth comes to the guy and hands him a piece of paper with a poem found in the woods. Ray is amazed because he wrote these lines specifically for Susie. Ruth is sure Susie is still around. In fact, when the girl's soul was leaving this world, she touched Ruth, and since then she began to feel her presence. Susie finds herself in a wonderful intermediate place between worlds, but at the same time continues to send signs to her father that she is still around. The spirit of another dead girl asks her to let go of the past and move on, but Susie is not ready. She wants to return home and is watching her killer. Then she realizes that Harvey will not stop and will look for victims again. The worst part is that he starts following her younger sister. Susie's father decides to start his own investigation. He's sure that his daughter would never go anywhere with a stranger, which means that the killer is someone she knows. He insists that the police check all the neighbors, especially those who behave strangely, but the matter comes to a dead end. The main problem is that the body was never found, because Harvey hid it in a metal safe in his basement. 11 months pass. Susie's mother cannot cope with the longing and, on the advice of her grandmother, leaves to California where she gets a new job. Grandma Lynn moves in with the Salmons and helps raise the children. She's energetic, modern, and does not let her grandchildren be sad. They look happier with her, although they never forget their sister and feel her next to them. Lindsay gets a boyfriend and Susie watches their first kiss. She is sad, realizing that she herself will not experience it. Susie's soul is constantly watching Ray. He still thinks about her, but spends more and more time with Ruth. They soon become a couple. Susie's father develops old films taken by her daughter, and in one photo he notices Harvey. Convinced that it was he who killed Susie, the man goes to the neighbor, but he hides in the house. The police remind him that there is no evidence, but the father does not doubt his guilt and decides to take revenge on his own. One day he sees Harvey in a cornfield and rushes after him with a baseball bat. But in the thicket he accidentally attacks a pair of teenagers and gets badly beaten. He miraculously remains alive. Susie blames herself for what happened to her father, and understands no matter how much she loved him, it was time to let him go. But Harvey feels the urge to kill again, and now his attention is focused on Lindsay. Meanwhile, Susie learns that she is far from the first victim. Harvey had killed before. Among his victims were very young girls, the youngest of whom was only 6 years old. Lindsay is getting more and more worried. The neighbor is constantly watching her. She decides to break into his house and finds a hiding place, a notebook with notes and drawings which describes in detail the plan to kill Susie, as well as her lock of hair. At this moment, Harvey returns home. The girl realizes that she is in grave danger and jumps out the window. Harvey rushes after her but does not have time to catch up. Lindsay runs home and sees that her mom has finally returned. Not wanting to spoil the happy meeting of her parents, she keeps silent about what happened and hands the notebook to her grandmother. The police come to Harvey, but he has already escaped. He manages to dump the safe containing Susie's body into a pit on the outskirts of the city. At this moment, Ruth and Ray notice him, and Ruth feels that this is related to the missing girl. In the in-between world, Susie meets the souls of other murdered children. They invite her to come with them, and she realizes that she is almost ready, but she decides to return to Earth once more. She has one last wish left. She enters Ruth's body to experience her first kiss with Ray. When their lips touch, the guy suddenly sees Susie in front of him and tells her again that she is beautiful. She smiles. Peace is gradually coming to Susie's family. The parents are returning to their usual lives, and Lindsay is expecting a baby. At the place of Susie's death, a new life is born, no less wonderful than her own. As for Harvey, he can't escape. After moving to another city, one evening he meets a girl smoking alone. Harvey offers to give her a ride, but is rudely refused. At this moment, a huge icicle falls from above. The man slides and falls off a high cliff. Her mother comes into Susie's room and says she's always loved her. The girl realizes that she is ready to leave now. She is grateful for her wonderful, although very short life, and wishes everyone to live it happily ever after.